Hey everyone, what's going on? Today I'm going to go in depth on lists and cover everything that you could think about them. Let's get right into it. So to start off, I'm going to create a list and it is going to have the values 1, 2, 3, 3, 4, 5. Now the first thing I want to note here is, well, actually two things. The first one is that there could be strings inside of here. So I'll say hello and world and so on. So this is valid. And you can also have 2D arrays. So we can have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. But we'll get into that in a moment. So we'll just comment this out. So to start off, we are going to create a num. And our num is going to equal list. And then we're going to get an index from it. The way that indexes work is that they start off. They start off at 0, and then 1, and then 2, 3, and 4. Now, an important thing to note here is that this 4 is equal to -1, and -2, and -3. So as you go backwards, you can say -1, -2, -3 to access the ends of it, if the task that you're trying to solve involves that. So that being said, let's just comment this out real quick. So if we were to get list index 0, what value do you think we would get? Well, we would get 1. So let's go ahead and run this. Oh, my mistake. You have to print it out. So let's run this and you see we get 1. If we did 3 here, we would get 4. And then remember, if we did -1, we would get 5, -2, we would get 4, -3, we would get 3, etc. Alright, so that's great and all. But what if we wanted to use a 3D array? Keep in mind, this is called a 2D list. So now let's use val. So we'll replace val here. So what would we do if we wanted to access the 6 here? Well, first, indexes work the same, so we have 0 and then 1. So let's use 1 here. And then we want to access the 6. So let's see, 0, 1, 2. So this should print out 6. Let's see what happens. And there we go. So now what if you wanted to copy a list into another variable? So what you would do is you would put these square brackets after it. Then you would put the index that you want to start at. So we'll actually do this for list. We'll start at index 0. Then we'll put the colon here. Then we will stop. We'll say index 2. And then we will have a step of 2. So let's see what this prints out here. 1. So why does it print out 1? It starts at index 0. It stops at index 2. So this is what you see here. 2 is not included. And there's a step of 2. So it gets 1. And then it skips over 2. And then there's nothing else. So all we get from that is 1. So now, before I move on, remember, the first element is the beginning. The second element is the last value, but you don't include that one. And then the third value is the step. So now what happens if you don't want to put these values here? Well, you can actually remove this first one, and it automatically starts at index 0. It automatically starts at the beginning. And you can remove this so that it automatically ends at the end. And if you don't want to have a step, then you only have to have 1 colon. So this should print out the entire list. And there we go. So let's try doing this with strings. So let's create our list, and it's going to equal hello and world and optimal. So now let's first try printing it and copying it, and you see we get hello world and optimal. No surprises there. We can also access indexes like hello. But what would happen if I put another square bracket there and put 0? What should it print out? Based on our logic right now, it should throw an error. Let's try it. It prints out H. Why is this? Well, since strings are iterable objects, which means that you can get indexes in them, that means that this is a valid expression. Now what would happen if this was a number here? Let's say 4322. Let's go ahead and run this. We get an error because int is not subscriptable. That means that we cannot iterate through int. So we would just have to put 10 here. Now, what if we did want to get the 4 out of this? Well, we would say num equals list 0. Then num equals the string of num. So now let's see what we get. We get the 4 like we wanted. Now, we could simplify this by just getting the string of this element here. and then getting 0, but this is usually not necessary. I would like to end this by saying a couple things, because I've had a few questions about these. So first off, you should remember, if you have a number, you do not want to put it inside of either single or double quotes. The reason for this is because, here, I'll show you an example. So what if you wanted to add, let's say, added nums equals list 0 plus list 1. So let's say we have 4322 and 5644. So what do you think we're gonna get? Most people would say we would get 9966, but instead it concats them. It puts them together. This is why it's good practice to not put quotes here. So now we should get 9966. There we go. So remember, you should only have 2 square brackets. So like list 0, 0, 0, 1, or 0, 2, whatever you want. Remember, you should only have list followed by 2 square brackets if it's either a 3D list or it's a string and you're trying to access a certain number or a certain letter in the string. I hope you've learned a thing or two from today's video, and I'll see you in the next one. Later.